two are becoming one. That is not a tornado. It is what we call a dust devil out here. It's just a big old microburst of dust and wind swirling around. And that is on the property next door. It's not fun to get caught in one of those. Get smacked in the face with a bunch of dirt. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another day here at Reach and Reverie. Today, it's really starting to feel like gardening season. This is our first year growing here on this property Josh and I bought last summer. We started by building a shop and putting our RV with an RV port here on the property so that we could live here full time. We fenced in our gardening area, added a greenhouse to start seedlings, and this weekend we have been digging our beds for the garden. We decided to go with sunken beds instead of raised beds. For one, it's a whole lot cheaper. We took out all of the soil in the areas that we cut out for these sunken beds, and we filled it in about 3/4 of the way back up, 50-50 with the native ground that came out of the ground and 50% of broken down compost. Right now we are working on our first watering in on the beds, trying to get some moisture down into penetrating this soil so that we can support life here in this gardening space. Here we are doing sunken beds. We dug down trenches that are 4 feet wide, 32 feet long, and they're 18 inches deep, but we only filled them back up about 12 inches. So we have 6 inches around the perimeter of each of these beds that this is sunken below the level of the ground. You can see our pathways in between are raised up about 6 inches higher. So that is going to allow us to maximize all of the water that falls into here. It's going to evaporate slower, drain a little bit slower. It's going to hold water a little bit better. And it's going to collect water that may have just sat on the top of the ground. It's going to go into these beds. So we are all about saving water out here. If you can't tell by the surroundings, we don't have a weed problem like some other places do because we are in the Chihuahuan Desert. We get very little rain. We got rain for the first time in over 6 months the past couple days, and it was much needed and appreciated. In this ground, we did rent a tiller today, and again, it's 50-50 native soil and compost, and we also added perlite, which is this little volcanic rock that's going to allow us to aerate the soil, and we also added vermiculite, which you can see some right here that didn't get quite tilled in. Then we also mixed in worm castings with little worm eggs in it, so hopefully that will add some extra nutrition to the soil, as well as some worm life that can spark life into the soil. They say that with planting perennials, and it's the same true with your soil, that the first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, the third year it leaps, and so on. So we are not expecting us to throw some perlite, vermiculite, worm casting compost into this and it magically be amazing grand soil. It's going to take time, but we do the best with what we can now, and over time we'll do better continuing to maintain the soil. So this year we're just hoping that we can grow something, and then next year when we add more compost and amendments to the soil, and each year following, the soil's health should improve and get better and better. So yesterday Josh dug me these 3 beds. We've put back in 50-50 native soil and compost mix, and today he is digging a new bed. So far we have 1 of the 32-foot beds out of the 4 on this side done, so he's working on the second one now, and he's going to work over this way and out that back door. So right now he's mixing the native dirt with the compost. We have a native dirt pile and our compost pile. We got some rain today, so it's a little darker on top. But he's mixing that up and putting it in our beds. What's he doing? Do you smell that dirt? Huh, it smells good. So you can see on the end we have a bed that's full of half compost, half soil. Here we have a bed that's empty. Josh is coming in right now filling up this bed. We have a bed with perlite poured and a bed with perlite spread. The perlite is a volcanic rock that's going to add drainage to the soil. It'll help aerate the soil, so we're going to mix that in with the tiller to get it down into this ground. We also are doing vermiculite, which will also help aerate the soil, but vermiculite absorbs, I think, 4 times its weight in water. It will also help be like a slow release moisture aid. Living in a desert, we want to help drainage, but we also want to use our water efficiently, so the vermiculite should be amazing for that. And then we have our worm castings, which is super nutritious, and we'll have some little wormy eggs in there to help improve the life of our soil. We're hoping that by about year 3, we should have more life than ever and be producing even more of our own food here. I think it's about time to move this water hose. Josh took it off of our pump that pumps water to the house, and he put a hose directly into one of our 3,000-gallon water tanks and put an irrigation pump on it, and the pressure's a whole lot higher. Before it was watering just the width of the bed, and now we're watering about 2 beds here. So let's go ahead and move this on down. We are doing our first irrigation today just to get some water into the ground. As you can see, our ground, we have a lot of clay, but we also have a lot of silt, and it's very thirsty and dry. Even though we got a ½ an inch of rain over the past 2 days here, which is incredible. Our annual average is about 9 inches of rain a year. You can see that that ½ inch of rain is nowhere to be found. It's soaked in and we are back to dust. So definitely water is hugely important. This ground that we tilled today and incorporated the compost and the vermiculite and the perlite and the worm castings is just incredibly dry. With soil, you want to be able to make a fist, release, and still have like a clump of soil that's holding moisture really well. And let's go back down and look at how dry this ground is here. It's going to take a lot of work to bring it back to life. Real dusty, not holding its shape at all. So we definitely need to work on this. But again, our budget this year with creating this space of gardening is not to bring all new soil in for the whole thing and fill in these beds. We had to do with what we could, so we did 50-50 native ground and 50-50 compost with extra amendments. So now I'm just going to bring this guy down and we'll water the other half of this bed. Woo, that's powerful. All right, we'll let that do its thing. Come back here in a few minutes. I am so excited to finally be able to plant things in the ground. Having a garden like this has been my dream for so many years. I feel like I have been missing a part of myself, not having the opportunity to really stretch my gardening legs and grow the garden that I've always dreamt of. And so being able to come in here, get our fencing done, get the garden beds done, I feel like this whole process, I've just been on the verge of tears and happiness for how excited I am. We're gonna be able to grow so much food here. We already do have potatoes and onions planted in these 3 beds right here along the fence. We plan on doing tomatoes, herbs, and flowers. In this bed, we're probably going to run tomatoes right along the center, and we plan on having about 40 tomatoes in this bed. And then in front and in the back, we'll have some low growing herbs and pollinating flowers growing up on either side. In this bed, we plan on having 3 cattle panel arch trellises, one at the front, one in the middle, and one in the back, which we're gonna grow cucumbers and melons and gourds on. We're also planning on growing peppers and bush beans in this bed as well. In this bed, we're probably gonna grow things like summer squash, okra, artichokes, other miscellaneous things on the other side of our melons and cucumbers. And then back here, we plan on doing a 3 sisters garden row where we're gonna plant corn, winter squash, and pole beans. So things like pumpkins, flower corn, and pole beans will be in this back bed here. To some people, this bed below me that has potatoes and onions in it may just look like a bed of muck and mud, but let's take a closer look. I did just water it, and you can see the onions that I planted this week are already starting to pop up out of the soil. In this bed, I planted a row of potatoes on the front and the back, and in the middle, we planted a row of onions. And we followed suit in these 3 beds. Let's get out of this wind, and I'm gonna show you guys what we have growing in our greenhouse, which Josh has very fondly nicknamed the womb. And let me show you why. This is as high as the zipper goes up because it is broken. So I have to literally crawl through here on my hands and knees to enter and exit the greenhouse, which is why Josh has nicknamed it the womb. Whew. I made it. That's right, that's how I get in and out every single time. Good thing this is gonna be a 1-year greenhouse, right? So let me show you guys what we have growing right now. We do have this divider, which helps create a smaller side to have to heat up in the evenings when we get really cold nights here. So even though we are here in Western Texas, we live in a desert, it gets really hot. The high today is 89 degrees. The low last night was about 30, and it's like that every night. We drop so fast in the evenings and get really cold nights still, and we are still dipping down right at freezing. And then in the day, the sun comes up and it gets super hot. As we go around this divider, this is what we have growing in here. We did plan on bringing in some tables to get these guys up off the ground, but at this stage in the game, we have just let well enough alone. And this is what we have going on for our setup for growing seedlings this year. We have our heater right here, which blows hot air on them over the evening to help them survive our cold nights. And you can see right now with our windows open, it's currently 104 degrees in here. So it's one of those days where it's windy enough, I'm only opening half the windows because the wind comes from this side and we don't want to blow this thing away. So I have the windows over here just vented so the breeze can come through and then blow out that side. And so far, keeping everything well watered and moist, they have been doing okay in these hot temperature days. We have tomatoes on the back row and some peppers, tomatillos, ground cherries. We also have things up here like squash, we've got cucumbers, we have more peppers, a lot of flower and herbs growing on in here. And let's take a closer look. Some of these tomatoes don't look the healthiest because we had them started indoors after our other greenhouse blew away, and they are bouncing back pretty good, but you can see they have struggled quite a bit. Not super tall and healthy, but they are starting to get their true leaves, and I think we'll get some tomatoes out of them yet. Oh, happy birthday, little guy. Look at this guy. Just sprouted right there. And we have a lot of different varieties of tomatoes. We'll have to show you guys in another video what all we've got going on. Here are some of our peppers that are finally starting to pop up. They really like warm weather and have waited a little bit. I have some flowers, like these are lupins. We have some cucumbers. These are high scent variety sweet peas. I've even got a mountain laurel over here, so we're growing some native plants. This is a whole tray of marigolds with a couple of basils. More tomatoes back there. These are all peppers in this bed, or in this tray. This tray is mostly basil, but we have some other herbs coming up, like this is a broadleaf sage little baby. And we even have a desert willow starting over here, another Texas native. Lots of really healthy looking squash. This is Blue Hubbard. And things like squash and cucumbers you can start indoors and transplant out, but you just want to be very careful with their roots. They don't like their roots really messed with. I have a couple hollyhocks coming up. And this is another tray full of herbs. Like in this one we have chamomile. We have more cucumbers started. Lots of cucumbers. We have some gourds as well, like the loofah. And our little tomatillos back there are also doing really good and are very cute. With as warm as it is, I think I'm gonna go ahead and let these guys keep on growing. Get out of the way and get back out to move the sprinklers in my garden. It's a hot growing environment. Great plant nursery. Yes. I've exited. Man, it feels a whole lot cooler out here. 84 is feeling really nice. I officially have these beds watered in well for the first time. I am going to continue to water these regularly for the next couple weeks, and then I think they're going to be ready for planting. And we will migrate and graduate our seed starts out of the greenhouse and put them into their forever homes here. And there are things we'll be direct sowing, like the corn and some other things in these beds that are not started in the greenhouse that just don't transplant as well. So there's more to come. Stay tuned for more to see how these sunken beds perform in our garden this year, and for more tips and tricks on gardening we will show along the way. So with that being said, don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you liked this video, and also don't forget to subscribe. That way you can stay up to date with everything going on here at Reach and Reverie. On this channel we do all things homesteading, and we are building up our life, our home, our dream, one video at a time. Thank you for watching and have a great day. You ready to go inside? Are you ready to go inside? She knows the way. Let me go grab our water bucket. Go water the plants up front. I'm coming. Thanks for not forgetting me, Evie. Let's go. You first.